Hello, dearest army. Welcome back to this channel, the place where we always talk about the most touching, the funniest, and the most unexpected things surrounding BTS and ARMY from all around the world. Okay, before we get started, I want to ask you one thing first. Have you ever cried and laughed at the exact same time just because of BTS? Because the video I'm about to talk about today is going to make you feel exactly that. Today we're going to talk about a moment that went instantly viral. A moment where one ARMY brought back the most iconic and most adorable nickname in the entire history of the BTS fandom. None other than Papa MOCHI, loudly crying face purple heart. And the reaction from Jimin and Jungkook when that moment happened? Let's just say, it was the most unexpected thing any of us had ever seen. So make sure you're already subscribed, hit that notification bell, grab your snacks, and don't go anywhere, because this is going to be a video you'll watch more than once. I promise. Alright, for those of you who are new to the ARMY family or maybe aren't familiar with this nickname yet, don't worry, we're going to start from the very beginning. So the nickname MOCHI for Jimin has been around for a very long time. A very, very long time. This isn't a nickname that was born from just one single moment. It was born from years and years of ARMY watching Jimin with nothing but pure love. Why MOCHI? Because mochi is a traditional Japanese rice cake that is soft, chewy, round, and sweet. And when a younger Jimin, with those chubby round cheeks, that adorable expression, and that smile that melts every heart in the room, ARMY immediately said, "This is MOCHI. This is our Jimin." And Jimin himself has long embraced this nickname wholeheartedly. Even the other BTS members often call him MOCHI or casually pinch his cheeks because, well, he's just impossibly adorable. But then came the historic moment that changed everything. February 26th, 2020. BTS appeared in the Carpool Karaoke segment with James Corden on The Late Late Show. During that incredibly fun ride around Los Angeles, James Corden started asking about each member's nickname. Everyone jumped in. Gene with his legendary worldwide handsome, the others chiming in with their own monikers. Then came Jimin's turn. James Corden said he already knew Jimin's nickname. It was MOCHI. And Jimin, with the most spontaneous, the most sincere, and the most impossibly endearing smile imaginable, pointed at James Corden and said, You Papa MOCHI." And the world was never the same again. James Corden embraced the nickname immediately and with full enthusiasm. He turned it right back around and called Jimin Baby MOCHI. And Jimin, still with that wide, honest, open smile of his, reached out and grabbed James Corden's hand and said, "Papa, Papa," then added the most heart-melting line of all, "I miss you, Papa." Inside that car, in just a matter of seconds, one of the most iconic interactions in the history of modern entertainment was born. Twitter exploded. Papa MOCHI was trending #1 in South Korea, trending #7 in the United States, trending #4 worldwide. Even the official Late Late Show account changed its name to The Late Late Show with Papa MOCHI. That was the power of one word, a word that came straight from Jimin's honesty and warmth. And ARMY, of course, immediately made this moment a permanent part of fandom history that will never, ever be forgotten. Now, the real question is, what did ARMY do with this legendary nickname? Well, naturally, they turned it into art. They turned it into an identity. And they took it to the next level that absolutely no one had ever imagined. Papa MOCHI versus Baby MOCHI fan art started popping up everywhere almost instantly. Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, TikTok, all of it was flooded with illustrations of a tiny, adorable Jimin running toward a cartoonish, warm, and fuzzy James Corden. Some drew them like a real father and child. Some made short comics. Some even created mini animations over a minute long, full of detail and love. Fanfiction was next. Titles like When Baby MOCHI Found His Papa or Papa MOCHI's Promise appeared on platforms like AO3 and Wattpad, gathering hundreds of thousands of readers. But wait, that was only the beginning. Because ARMY didn't stop at digital creations. They brought it into the real world. At various fan meetings, fan gatherings, and BTS events around the globe, more and more ARMY started showing up with Papa MOCHI merchandise. Some made signs and banners. Some printed custom shirts. Some even made handmade dolls shaped like a giant MOCHI with James Corden's drawn face on it. And it looked absolutely ridiculous in the most loving way possible. And then, this is what truly took everything to a whole new level. One ARMY showed up at a BTS fan engagement event wearing a full, complete Papa MOCHI costume. Yes, full costume. Picture this. Someone dressed as a giant MOCHI ball, round, white, soft-looking, with the word Papa printed boldly on the front, holding up a sign that read, "Where is my baby MOCHI?" while standing proudly among thousands of other ARMY fans. And that is the moment we are here to talk about today. Okay, let's get into the heart of the story. You all know how creative and brave ARMY can be. They are not just an ordinary fandom. They are a community filled with talented, imaginative, and genuinely fearless people. And one of the boldest expressions of that fearlessness is the decision to show up, even in front of their very own idols, wearing the most unexpected costume imaginable. The moment that has been going viral across social media platforms, especially TikTok and Twitter, came from a clip where one ARMY, let's call them Papa MOCHI ARMY, managed to be present at an event or moment where BTS was there, dressed in that incredibly detailed and fully committed Papa MOCHI costume. The costume wasn't just a shirt with Papa MOCHI written on it. This was a seriously crafted outfit, a big round mochi shape, milky white in color, with an adorable drawn face on the front and the words Papa MOCHI printed in bold lettering across the chest. The other ARMY members around them? Immediately hysterical, laughing, clapping, filming everything, because every single one of them knew exactly what that costume meant, and they all knew exactly what was going to happen the moment Jimin laid eyes on it. And as it turned out, Jimin did see it. When the camera caught Jimin's expression the moment his eyes landed on that Papa MOCHI costume, his reaction was something that no one who witnessed it will easily forget. First, there was a pause. A few seconds where Jimin was processing what he was looking at. A giant mochi ball. The words Papa MOCHI. An ARMY standing tall and proud and beaming inside that costume. And then, Jimin laughed. Not a polite little chuckle, but a laugh that came from deep in his belly. The kind of laugh that turned his eyes into crescent moons. The kind of laugh that shook his shoulders. The kind of laugh that is the most Jimin and the most endearing thing on this entire planet. ARMY all over the world who watched that clip absolutely melted. Because Jimin's laugh, and anyone who has ever seen it knows this, is one of the most healing things in the universe. But the story doesn't end there. Because this is where the most unexpected part of the whole thing came in. Jungkook. Yes, our very own golden magne, Jungkook, also caught that moment. And his reaction? The complete opposite of Jimin's. While Jimin laughed freely and openly with pure joy, Jungkook visibly froze. He went still for just a moment. His eyes blinked. Then slowly, that signature mischievous smile of his crept up at the corner of his lips, and he immediately turned to look at Jimin with an expression that said everything. Hyung, look at that. Look. And Jimin, who already knew exactly where Jungkook's eyes were pointing, could only laugh even harder while covering his face with both hands. The interaction between Jimin and Jungkook as they both took in the sight of an ARMY dressed as Papa MOCHI, brief, spontaneous, and completely natural, instantly became a clip that ARMY all around the world played back thousands of times. Because that was the most real version of Jimin and Jungkook. Not Jimin on stage. Not Jungkook in a music video, but Jimin and Jungkook laughing together, sharing a small warm moment, and reminding every single one of us exactly why we love them so deeply. Maybe some of you are wondering, why did a moment this simple go so viral? Why was it so emotional? The answer is not as simple as because it was funny or because Jimin and Jungkook are cute. There are much deeper layers to this than that. First, let's talk about the context of time. Jimin and Jungkook had just come through something that wasn't easy. Both of them completed their mandatory military service together, something the entire ARMY fandom had been waiting for with deeply mixed feelings. In June 2025, both of them officially finished their service. Jimin stood before the media and said, "From COVID-19 to the military, it has been quite a long journey. Thank you so much for waiting." Meanwhile, Jungkook, visibly emotional, said he didn't know what to say because it had been so long since he last stood in front of cameras. Their return was celebrated by ARMY all over the world. Giant air balloons floated over Yongkyon with messages like, "We missed you, Jungkook." Banners lined the streets. Hundreds of ARMY from Portugal, China, South America, and across Southeast Asia had traveled there just to catch a glimpse of their faces from a distance. This is the context in which the Papa Mochi costume took on so much more meaning than just a fandom joke. For ARMY, that costume was a way of saying, "We are still here. We still remember you. Even the tiny little things that once made you laugh, we kept every single one of them safe for you." The nickname Papa Mochi was born in 2020, in the days before the pandemic, when the world could still move freely and BTS could perform anywhere without limits. Then the pandemic came. Then the military enlistments came. Then there was distance, a very long and very heavy kind of distance. And when an ARMY showed up in a Papa Mochi costume after all of that, it wasn't just a joke. It was a love letter. It was a way of saying, "We spent the waiting time keeping all these memories alive for you." And Jimin, who has always been the most emotionally sensitive among all the BTS members, surely felt that. That is why his laughter was so free and so genuine. Not just because the costume was funny, but because he understood what was behind it. Second, this moment reminded us of something truly fundamental about the relationship between BTS and ARMY. This relationship is not a typical idol-fan relationship. It is a relationship built on shared memories, small memories that might seem trivial but have somehow survived for years and years. Papa Mochi is one of those memories. And when one ARMY brought that memory back to Jimin and Jungkook in physical form, in the form of a round white costume that was simultaneously ridiculous and deeply loving, it was like opening a time capsule right in front of their eyes. And that is exactly why Jimin and Jungkook's reactions felt so authentic, so unexpected, so purely, completely human. Of course, once that clip spread across the internet, ARMY from every corner of the world gave their own reactions, and those reactions were just as precious as the original moment itself. On Twitter, related hashtags immediately hit trending. Some of the most retweeted comments read things like, "Jimin laughed like that, and I just started crying. I don't know why I'm crying, but I'm crying." Others said, "Jungkook freezing and then doing that slow, mischievous smile is the perfect representation of every single one of us watching that costume appear." Someone else wrote, "Whoever made that Papa Mochi costume, you are our hero. We all owe you so much." And another, "Jimin heard Papa Mochi and his laugh immediately became the sun. This is what I needed today." On TikTok, reaction videos of ARMY watching the clip also went viral. Some watched it alone in their rooms and ended up in tears. Some watched it together with fellow ARMY friends and laughed until their stomachs hurt. Some even made reaction-to-reaction videos, filming themselves watching the clip and then watching other people's reaction videos too. Across ARMY communities in Indonesia, the Philippines, Brazil, Thailand, and beyond, the clip circulated endlessly for days. Group chats were flooded with it. Many said it was the best cure for missing BTS. And honestly, it really was. On YouTube, compilation videos of Jimin and Jungkook's reactions to the Papa Mochi costume racked up millions of views within just a few days. Content creators from South Korea, the United States, the Philippines, Brazil, Indonesia, everyone made a video breaking down the moment. Several international K-pop media outlets also covered it, calling it one of the most authentic and heartwarming ARMY Idol interactions of the year. If you think about it for a moment, there's something genuinely extraordinary about this whole story. In an entertainment industry that is meticulously structured, carefully planned, and heavily polished, where every interaction between an idol and their fans is usually governed by protocols and boundaries and careful management, BTS and ARMY have always managed to create moments that feel completely pure. Moments that cannot be scripted. Moments that cannot be manufactured. Jimin did not laugh because he was supposed to laugh. Jungkook did not give that reaction because someone told him to. It happened because it was real. Because the Papa Mochi costume touched something genuine inside of them. A memory, a warmth, a love that had been building for years and years. And that is proof that the relationship between BTS and ARMY is not just a transaction between artist and fan. It is a friendship that involves real memories, real emotions, and real connection. Even when it happens across great distances, even when it's separated by screens and time zones and years, and even mandatory military service. Jimin once said that ARMY are the people who wait, and that waiting alongside ARMY is something he is deeply grateful for. Jungkook once said that seeing ARMY makes every struggle feel worth it. That Papa MOCHI costume was the living embodiment of every single one of those words. One ARMY, with one costume, managed to capture years of memories, love, and loyalty, and delivered it all in one funny, adorable, completely unforgettable moment. And Jimin and Jungkook responded in the most themselves way possible, with laughter, with a mischievous grin, and with a warmth that can never, ever be faked. So ARMY, that is the story behind the moment we came here to talk about today. One nickname, one costume, one small moment born from a love that is immeasurably large, and two reactions that were the most unexpected and the most moving anyone could have hoped for. Jimin with a laugh that lit up like the sun. Jungkook with that freeze, then slow, mischievous smile that represented everything every single one of us felt in that moment. If there is one thing I want you to take away from this video, it's this: never underestimate the power of small memories. Papa MOCHI is just two words, but those two words have survived a pandemic, survived distance, survived military service, and they were still capable of making Jimin laugh freely as though no time had passed at all. That is beautiful, and we are so lucky to be part of a fandom that creates moments like this. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end, dearest ARMY Purple Heart. If this video made you smile, or maybe even brought a tear or two, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with a fellow ARMY who needs a warm moment today. And leave me a comment. What is your favorite BTS nickname of all time? Papa MOCHI, Worldwide Handsome, Golden Magne? I'll be waiting for you down below. See you in the next video. Take care of yourselves, take care of the ARMY around you, and always remember, we purple you, Purple Heart.